What happens when paradise becomes a battleground? On the sun-soaked sands of Turks and Caicos, a destination meant for peace, beauty, and sisterhood, a storm was quietly brewing. It wasn't the ocean winds that unsettled the air but the sharp tension between Khloé Kardashian, Kourtney Kardashian, and their longtime friend, Larsa Pippen. To the casual eye, it was just another glamorous getaway, luxury villas, turquoise waters, and the laughter of friends escaping the grind of everyday life. But beneath the perfect setting lay fractured bonds, unresolved truths, and emotions too raw to stay hidden any longer. The confrontation between Khloé, Kourtney, and Larsa Pippen was not just another argument on a tropical vacation. It was the collision of years of friendship, loyalty, betrayal, and shifting alliances. To understand this moment, one must look beyond the beach chairs and champagne glasses, deep into the story of how three women, bound by fame, family, and history, arrived at this breaking point. The Turks and Caicos trip had begun like many others, with excitement, photo shoots, and carefully curated moments destined for social media. Khloé Kardashian and Kourtney Kardashian were there to relax, to reconnect as sisters, and to share the beauty of island life with their inner circle. And Larsa Pippen, a figure who had long been woven into the Kardashian orbit, was right there with them. At first glance, it was all smiles. But soon, the cracks began to appear. For years, Khloé and Kourtney had stood shoulder to shoulder with Larsa. They had partied together, leaned on one another during public scandals, and shared secrets away from the cameras. But as time passed, rumors grew louder, whispers that Larsa's loyalty wasn't what it once was, that private matters of the Kardashian family were reaching outside ears. In Hollywood, where trust is already fragile, betrayal cuts deeper than almost anything else. Turks and Caicos, with its breathtaking serenity, became the unlikeliest stage for a confrontation that would echo far beyond the island's shores. On one evening, as the waves crashed just beyond the villa, and the sky turned into a canvas of pink and orange, Khloé Kardashian decided the silence could no longer continue. She was the first to speak, her tone calm but edged with firmness. Khloé had always been the sister who wore her heart on her sleeve, but also the one unafraid to call out dishonesty when it threatened the core of her family. She turned to Larsa, the friend who had once been considered almost like family, and laid the truth on the table. Kourtney Kardashian, quieter by nature but no less intense, sat beside her. For years, Kourtney had felt the shifting energies, the subtle distance that grew between them and Larsa. While Kourtney often avoided drama, there are moments when her silence breaks, and when it does, her words cut with precision. Together, Khloé and Kourtney confronted Larsa not in rage, but in disappointment. They asked questions not to humiliate, but to demand answers. Where did the loyalty go? Why did the trust fade? The confrontation wasn't about one isolated incident. It was about years of shared history that now felt tainted. Larsa Pippen, once celebrated as a glamorous and trusted presence in the Kardashian world, was being challenged under the Caribbean sun. Her responses were layered with defensiveness, explanations, and attempts to mend what had already been torn. She insisted she was misunderstood, that her intentions were never to harm. But in the eyes of Khloé and Kourtney, the damage had already been done. What made this moment so powerful was not the setting, nor even the words exchanged. It was the emotion that hung heavy in the air. The laughter from earlier in the trip had disappeared, replaced by long silences, tense stares, and the kind of energy that makes even the calm ocean waves feel uneasy. Turks and Caicos had become a mirror, reflecting not just the beauty of friendship, but also the painful reality of its fragility. Khloé's voice carried with it both pain and strength as she spoke. She reminded Larsa that being a friend to the Kardashians meant more than just sharing vacations and photo ops. It meant loyalty in the darkest of times. Kourtney added that when trust is broken, no amount of luxury or distraction can patch it back together. They were not simply confronting Larsa Pippen about rumors. They were confronting the loss of what once felt unbreakable. For viewers and fans, the confrontation on Turks and Caicos symbolized something bigger than celebrity drama. It was about the universal theme of friendship betrayed, about the heartbreak of realizing that someone you considered family may have been standing on the opposite side all along. The Kardashians, despite their fame, experienced what so many others do, the bitter taste of disillusionment when trust crumbles. The island setting only heightened the surreal nature of it all. Palm trees swayed gently as voices rose in tension. The turquoise waters, usually a balm for the soul, seemed indifferent to the storm playing out among friends. The glamorous vacation that had been meant to celebrate unity now felt like a trial by fire, testing bonds that had once seemed unshakable. And yet, even in the confrontation, there was a quiet dignity. Khloé and Kourtney didn't lash out recklessly. Instead, they demanded honesty. They pushed for clarity. They wanted to know if Larsa Pippen was still the friend they once knew, or if the friendship had already died long before the Turks and Caicos trip began. For Larsa, the confrontation was a reckoning. Her history with the Kardashians had always placed her in the spotlight, but now that spotlight burned hotter than ever. Every word she spoke was measured, but the weight of past actions was too heavy to ignore. She could explain, she could defend, but could she repair? That remained uncertain. As the night stretched on, the confrontation gave way to silence. No grand reconciliation came under the stars. No sudden forgiveness was offered. Instead, the air was left heavy, the villa quiet except for the sound of waves crashing in the distance. Turks and Caicos had witnessed not just a fight but a fracture. The story of Khloé and Kourtney confronting Larsa Pippen on this tropical trip is not merely a moment of drama. It is a chapter in the ongoing saga of friendships tested by fame, trust eroded by whispers, and the harsh reality that not every bond survives the pressure of public life. In Turks and Caicos, paradise became the stage for heartbreak, a reminder that even the most beautiful settings cannot shield us from painful truths. In the end, the confrontation was more than just words exchanged. It was the symbolic closing of a chapter, a recognition that the friendship between Khloé Kardashian, Kourtney Kardashian, and Larsa Pippen could never be the same again. And while the world may have seen only glimpses, those present in Turks and Caicos will never forget the night when the island's serenity collided with the storm of truth. Because sometimes the deepest wounds are not caused by enemies, but by friends we thought would stand with us forever. And on the beaches of Turks and Caicos, under the weight of history, that truth became impossible to ignore.